Good morning. Welcome to Camp Summerween. This is going to be my day 3 and day 4 reading vlog for Summerween, but we're going to focus on some camp activities. We're going to do some slashers. We're going to do some camp books. I've got with me right now Summer Camp for Slasher Victims by Matthew Mercer. So I'm really excited for that. I'm bringing it with me. I'm going to my mom's. We have a lot of family drama happening in the house. Not the house, the family. The big family right now. And so I'm going to go be there for my mom and support her and hang out with her for a little bit today because we have not been able to make time for each other, which is sad. But it's really hot, so I'm going to go. I will chat with you guys a bit later, but that's my intro. Hi! So I've read my next 4 stories from Never Whistle at Night, written by a bunch of Indigenous authors in the United States and Canada, which I've been reading about 4 to 5 stories per day for my Summerween, little treat to myself. And I read 4 today. My favorite of the 4 would be Night in the Chrysalis, I think, by Tiffany Morris. Definitely an author I want to keep tabs on. I also enjoyed Behind Colin's Eyes, and I liked the premise of Scariest Story Ever, but honestly, to use a title like that and then not give me a scary story, it was a little sad. But I did actually like the message and meaning to it. I would say that this is probably the best batch of stories, the most successful of the stories. So I'm wondering if the latter half will have more intriguing endings, if all the better stories are going to be in the second half or not. But I'm definitely intrigued to continue and see what I continue thinking as the stories progress. But it is a little lackluster with writing scary stories that aren't hitting the scare factor for me personally. I can see where the horror comes from, but it's not really as much as I would like. I would want more supernatural. I would want more just horrific scenes in general. It's a little bit too short, which is, always an issue with short stories, is not having the stories be long enough. But overall, it is what it is. So far, I'm enjoying it enough.
And a recent favorite horror was Bloom. I think that's the most recent horror that I've given almost 5 stars. I gave it 4.5 when I...
Drink your water, everybody. I'm quite dehydrated and very toasty. Hello. I'm back home. Can you tell? I'm home for the rest of the day. I work tomorrow, which sucks butts. And it's frickin' hot, and I'm out of breath. I just took a shower, got back from the lake, got back from my mom's, then to the lake, then here. And I have very, very minimal reading updates for you guys. I started summer camp for slasher victims, which honestly, if I wasn't so scared of knives, I would totally roast a marshmallow on a knife, because that would fit the vibes, but I won't do that. But I am on chapter 2. I've read the prologue and the first chapter, so I'm 29 pages in, not far, 11%, not terrible. I did just adjust my margins on my Kindle to be smaller to see if that helps me read a bit quicker or not. Even if I just placebo myself into thinking I'm faster, I'll take that as a win. But yes, I've started this. The prologue is basically just setting up the slasher scene, and we meet a character, Casey, and her possible, highly likely, untimely demise. I'm sticking with a slasher horror movie trope of if I don't see a dead body, they're not dead in my books, but presumably Casey is dead for the prologue. She pulls over to an abandoned gas station to fuel up on her way to the camp. It's, Camp Safe Camp Haven, something silly like that. But she's on her way as a counselor to this camp and pulls into a little abandoned gas station to fill up and then gets stopped. And then we also learn from Casey how the camp works, and then is reiterated to you again in Annie's first chapter POV. But Annie's grandfather, whose name I don't remember, he owns this camp. He's created it with the thoughts of kids who have gone through very traumatic incidents, think slasher victim survivors and other, horrible things that could happen in a kid's life. So this is a summer camp for them to come and help process their PTSD, and so on and so forth, and have fun and bond and open up a little bit. These counselors are just also equally traumatized teenagers who went to the camp at some point, it seems, except for one of them, Nick. He's just a regular dude. But it's interesting having a bunch of, like, teenagers who are also traumatized coaching other traumatized kids without any, like, therapy credentials. The practice of the camp, I can't say I can back and stand behind, but I'm interested so far. So yeah, we've just met Annie, who's shown up to this camp with her grandpa, and that's it. We don't know what happened to Casey yet. We're just hanging out, getting to know this cast of counselors and gang. I can remember Nick, Max, which is Casey's summer boyfriend, and Jenna. Was there a Vila? There's like a good amount. There's, I think, 8 or 9 counselors plus her grandfather, and there's gonna be all the kids. So, fun for me. I'm liking it so far. It's nothing special. I can't say a whole lot 30 pages in. I think the writing has been just fine so far. Nothing spectacular. But now that I'm home, I'm going to be reading this, making a good dent, hopefully, because I have 2 days to read this, as well as my other 2 picks, which will be The Lake House, which I will be reading tomorrow at the office. And then I will also be reading Tastes Like Candy, hopefully, if I can fit it in. I am a slow reader, so, like, I can't make promises since I'm reading with my eyeballs so much, but I'm excited for these. I have not read slashers in a little while. I have no clue what The Lake House is, so we'll talk about that one tomorrow. But I thought it would be fun while I'm reading summer camp things that I could do some summer camp activities, and then the the thought of, like, doing stuff sounded like a lot. You know when it's hot and you just, the thought of, like, pulling your paints out, pulling a canvas out, just kind of feels like a lot. That's kind of where I'm at. So I think I might do some digital art so that it's, like, less intense and hot and heat. We're gonna have s'mores for sure. I can guarantee s'mores. Everything else, we're not sure yet. But yeah, I figured we'd just do some, like, fun, cute little camp things. We've already did the lake. So yeah, that's where we're at. This is a long update to say I've started a book. And it's, like, almost 7 o'clock. Yeah. So, oopsies. That's okay. Good days are worth it. I also have this new shirt. And it says, "You make me feel alive." And on the back, it's a little skeleton dude. How am I going to show this to you? It's a little skeleton dude. And he's planting a garden. So, that's my cute shirt. Goodbye. My biggest complaint with this so far isn't, like, a big complaint. I'm almost 50 pages in, but it's very, like, telling of every little thing that they're doing. Like, it's very descriptive, but in a bad way, of, like, every little thing. Like, I just read 3 pages on how Mitch is explaining to the counselors how to make the perfect marshmallow. And I'm like, okay, 1, these are teenage young adults who have been either campers or counselors here before, and I feel like people know how to roast a marshmallow. So it's weird that I'm reading 3 pages on, like, explaining that, right? That seems weird, right? Anywho, having fun time with it. It's definitely giving, like, the camp vibes, which I think is cool. It's giving summer camp. It's giving trauma backstories, trauma bonding, because we're going to probably hear each counselor's backstory on top of probably some of the campers. So I just have a feeling we're going to hear a lot about, like, almost deaths that people experienced and the close to homes, which they're not like super gory or graphic details. So I feel like this might be a good beginner slasher, but who knows? I've still got many pages to go. It could get more horrific. Who knows? But that's where I'm at. Good morning, campers. We're back in the office today. See you guys after work. I'm so tired. I'm gonna read The Lake House today at the office. I still know nothing about it. I hope that it's spooky and summer vibes. I'm 100 pages into Summer Camp for Slasher Victims, and I'm actually enjoying it. Even though the writing style is like a little sometimes, I don't think I hate it. But that's all that I got for you right now. Holy cow, it's a toasty day. How are we doing, campers? Today I listened to my 5 stories for Never Whistle at Night, and here's the thing, like, I'm enjoying it overall, just like as an experience, because I'm getting to know new authors that I'm interested in keeping an eye on, seeing their backlist, whatever, and that's cool. But a lot of these stories have just been very mid for me. I think partly just because they're short stories, so sometimes it's hard to connect with them or have like the same level of care as you do in like a novella or in a novel. But yeah, I'm feeling just very like meh. I think I just wanted it to be more supernatural scary, and I know I keep repeating that, so I will stop repeating that, but that's just my expectations were in a different place. And now that I'm actually listening to the book and like hearing each story, I'm like, yeah, they're fine, but it's not something that I'm wanting from this anthology exactly. They're all like horrific things to be happening, and they're scary in the real life, but like I already have anxiety. I don't need more of it. So yeah, I'm kind of just reading and paying attention to whose writing style I like, and like story atmosphere is good, and like that will help me gauge who I might want to check out in the future. Hello. I will make this so fast because I'm melting in here already. But I, today at work, like I said, read The Lake House by Sarah Beth Dirch. Look at me with the names of authors. Beautiful cover. Misleading title in a sense, but not really. Like, it doesn't quite give the same vibes as you're expecting going into it, which is fine. But in this, we are following 3 girls. We are following, let's see, Claire, Revya, Revya, I think, and then Mariana. And these 3 girls are going to summer camp. They're arriving late. They're late to the party. They take a boat to get to the camp, and they show up with their newfound friendship, and they say, "We're ready for summer camp." Walks towards the what would be log cabin, the lake house, where camp would reside. And it's completely burnt down to a crisp. And there's a dead body in the woods. Uh-oh, what did we just walk into? Can't be something good. So yeah, basically they are walking into an absolute nightmare of a scene, and there's no cell service. Their parents know that they can't contact them for at least a week because they're at summer camp, and that's like the rules. And the guy on the boat is dipped the fuck out. He's gone. And so they're stranded at camp that's also been burnt down. So resources are limited. Now, this is a survival story. This is a story about friendship. This is a story about self-discovery and self-love. I liked the story overall. I think that the female friendships that they had were fun and interesting, and I was engaged in the story enough. I was entertained plenty. With that said, I definitely would say this is more geared towards a younger audience, especially a younger audience who might not have the language to their experiences, because if I read this when I was like in middle school or high school, it would have probably helped me quite a lot understand anxiety. Claire, our main character, has anxiety, and she has a lot of shame surrounding it and just doesn't know, like, it's not normalized, it's stigmatized. She feels really guilty about having panic attacks. Like, they're in a very dire situation, and she's like, "I'm so sorry, like, you guys won't want to be my friends anymore because I have these panic attacks." It's very sad, but a little bit annoying and a little bit repetitive at times, where you're just like, shut up, I know, I'm not your therapist, please. And so there's moments with Claire that I'm just like, girl, I get it, move on, please, stop. But from a younger Sam perspective, it's like, okay, yeah, but that would be nice for me to see, because I also would hate camping, but it's cool to see her solve so many problems, even though she has anxiety, and like seeing it all mesh together. I thought it was well done. I thought it was good. And I would definitely recommend this to a younger audience, especially because they're not going to guess any of the twists. They're not going to expect what's to come. So overall, I enjoyed this. There's a decent, like, diverse cast for how small the cast is, because Mariana is Latina and also bisexual. Questionable on, like, the representation. You could definitely call it a little bit more stereotypical, but I will let y'all be the judge of how that makes you feel. I'm not really one to push the narrative of like what's proper diversity in a book as a white girl, so that's that. But yeah, I thought this was entertaining. I thought that it was good. I enjoyed seeing like them having to survive. This is my nightmare. I hate camping. I don't like, summer camp was fine growing up, like I hate camping. If you were to ask me to survive with no resources and 2 other girls that you just met, I wouldn't make it. I simply just would end it. No thank you. I don't wish to be a part of this. This doesn't sound any fun. I would be miserable and not fun to be around. I complain a lot. I'm sure you noticed already. So yeah, I like this though. I definitely wouldn't recommend this widely to everybody, because I think a lot of people won't find as much joy out of like the pretty basic plot, I guess. Like it has twists and it's has that like thrilling aspect, but it's not to the level of like adult books, if that makes sense. I'm sure it does. But yeah, overall, I think I'm in just like a flat, easy mid 3 stars. Like there was nothing that I had major issues with, but also like there's definitely room for improvement for a plot that I would have enjoyed more. But there's no like hard romance plot pushed on you. It's very just female friendships surviving a terrible incident and figuring out what's going on and trying to solve the mystery at the same time. I liked it. I didn't see the twist coming. I was entertained. Good time. All right. Thank you for watching my TED Talk. Now, I had the intrusive thought of starting another audiobook, which was going to be The Last Time I Lied by Riley Sager, but it's 4.5 hours and it's already like approaching 7 o'clock. So I need to make dinner, and I still have 200 pages left of Summer Camp for Slasher Victims, and I want to prioritize finishing that for this video rather than starting a new book that I won't be able to finish in time, you know? So I will check in with you guys a little bit later when I've got things to say about my slasher book. The Lake House definitely would have been a more fun camp vibe if it was a slasher. I'm just saying. But I think I'm just like in my little slasher era with this camp vlog. So what can I say? Alright, so we have 2 POVs. We have Haley and her new bestie, Alejandra. They're not girls. And then we have Annie, who's kind of not a girl's girl, but like is becoming a girl's girl. And Annie is the like niece that we've been following. Haley is the new POV that's been introduced, and she is a camper. So we're gonna see 2 perspectives, which is cool, and I like that normally, but how it's been done so far is just repeating a lot of the same information that we learned previously with Annie. Now we're learning it with Haley, and I'm like, yeah, but I already know all this stuff. I don't need to hear it again. So that's where I'm at so far. I'm only 109 pages in, so we've still got less than 200 pages to go. I did it. I finished the book. It is 1:08 in the morning, and I need to edit, but I gotta give you my final thoughts for Summer Camp for Slasher Victims by A. Matthew Mercer. Now, this is his debut novel, so with that in mind, I can see why editors could miss some stuff. It's indie published, but there was like a few typos that I was like, I can ignore them. It's not a big deal. It doesn't really influence my enjoyment, at least in this way. It was mostly like quotation marks being in the wrong spot. I was like, that's fine. But my biggest issue with this was the writing style, because I don't care too much for the repetition of it. The first 200 pages are really just backstories of the characters, getting to know everybody there, and there's a lot of build up, and I'm assuming that it's in hopes for you to like have care and emotional attachment to these characters, knowing it's going to be a slasher. But I think also knowing it's going to be a slasher hinders you wanting to care and relate to them. And not to mention they're all slasher victim survivors, so it's not like they're relatable anyway. Like, I can't relate to somebody who's survived an absolute tragedy like that. So I wish that there was more action earlier on and the suspense was kept throughout, unfortunately. And I'm glad that I didn't talk about it, because I would have had to cut it out anyway. I knew in the first chapter who it was, so I feel like we could have done better with some more like red herrings and the like who done it kind of aspect to the slasher. Like, oh no, who could possibly be doing it? But I knew the whole time, which I think it didn't necessarily hinder my enjoyment, but definitely didn't make it as satisfying of an end. I overall think that it was fine. I didn't connect to the characters. The writing style got repetitive and over descriptive, like way overwritten. I don't need to know play by play. Every once in a while you were like, yeah, it kind of feels like it was written by a man. I'm not, it's not as bad for this genre. I'll take it. The bar is low, but it was good. So those are my three like main things. And also like knowing the end. Even if I didn't know why, I knew who. And that's, yeah. So I was entertained, but I had a lot of technical issues. So I want to say, like, in my heart, it's like a 2.5, but I think I'll rate it 3 on Goodreads and round up, because I didn't have like strong issues with it. Oh, big issue actually. Neil. Why are we so mean to Neil? What's up with that? I know that we're following teenagers, and I know that teenagers suck, but I understand that he's plus size, he's bigger, but the fact that like his entire character trait is that he is lazy, and everybody thinks that he's lazy, and that he's fat and disgusting and has poor hygiene because of it, and like I didn't like that. That felt incredibly unnecessary. I don't know why we felt the need to do that. So, trigger warning for fat phobia, because that is something that happens in this as well. Also, it's just like recounting their slasher past, their histories. I wouldn't say this book really went too gorific. That's my new terminology. It's not super gory, but there were like a few moments where you're like, ooh, but like nothing really had me on edge. So yeah, I think overall my rating is going to be 2.5, but I will round up to 3 on Goodreads for my review. Now with that said, the bingo. I read 2 books in this vlog as well. So my most recent read, Summer Camp for Slasher Victims, was for the prompt takes place in the summer, because we're at a summer camp. Makes sense, checks out. And the audiobook that I listened to was The Lake House, and I don't think this fulfills any of the prompts that I set out. I put it on the TBR for the camp vibes, but not necessarily for the bingo vibes. I mean, I suppose we could put it under read a thriller or a horror, but that's all of the books that I'm personally reading. That's the little wrap up. That's my little bingo board so far with the 4 books that I have read for Summerween. I will be starting the next vlog tomorrow, which will be days 5, 6, and 7, and I'm hoping to get that up Thursday evening when I get off of work. So it's going to be a later upload. Normally I try to post my videos 9 a.m. PST, Pacific Standard Time, just because that's what works for me. But that Thursday video will either come up Friday morning or Thursday night. Goodness. it's late. I'm tired. I have to edit. So thank you for watching. I hope that you're enjoying your summerween if you're participating. If you made it to the end of this video, leave me a camp-like emoji. It could be a tent. It could be a tree. Whatever fits your fancy. Just something that reminds you of camp. I loved camp as a kid. I thought it was fun. I actually went to a Christian camp as a child without knowing that it was a Christian camp, and I was very confused every time we were at mass. But thank you for watching and hanging out with me. I'm going to skedaddle. I will see you guys tomorrow, but technically Thursday/Friday, whatever works out. Bye!